Hello and welcome. I'm AJ.
I'm Alex.
This is NTVN New Tech Vintage Nerds. Today we're going to talk about backup and hopefully not
Backup.
about restore. But more on that later. First, intro. Backup. I want to know all about backup and hopefully we don't have to restore. But before that, what shall we do today? What did you automate this week?
Nothing.
That's boring.
Yeah.
If you were going to automate anything last week, what would you do?
Well, I built a new lighting fixture in the hallway and I bought some new Govee spots for that and mounted those. And the funny thing is then they are for spots, but they are for individual spots. But in Homey, you can, and I think in home automation, on Home Assistant, you can also do that. Bind the four individual spots together to one entity and then control that single entity, and then they all go on or off, or blue or red or warm white or bright white or whatever.
Yes.
So I did that.
Cool. Pretty
Well,
easy, I think.
not really very exciting. It does, and this is something I actually still have to do to a couple of lightings in my house, is to actually do this and then use that single entity to create automations rather than telling Homey to switch on light fixture 1 of 4, 2 of 4, 3 of 4, 4 of 4, dim to 50%, 1 of 4, 2 of 4, 3 of 4, 4. It's not really, but it's not really economical, but I was a bit too lazy doing that, but I still need to.
Okay. So in Home Assistant, that is create a group, put all the devices in it that you want to control.
Yeah, group them together. Yeah.
And then you say, put it on with this brightness and this color. And then it automatically does everything in one call.
One of the cool things I find about Homey is that when I tell it to dim a specific light to, let's say, 50%, it automatically assumes I want to turn it on, otherwise I wouldn't dim it, right? So when I just state in that wonderful flowchart, dim this light or dim this group of lights to 50%, then it automatically switches them on and sets the brightness to 50%. So you don't have to do the additional step of switching the lights on and then dim them to 50%.
Yeah, exactly. Home Assistant does the same thing.
Yeah. It saves you a bit of a couple of steps, which is always nice.
Yeah. So what did I automate? Well, I'm looking at my desk.
What did you automate this week?
I got a new Akara wireless switch. Those who are watching, that's this kind of thing.
Oh, right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's a wireless switch. Yeah. So a wireless light switch.
Switch. And the great part of it is that it's a press switch. I'm not sure how you call it otherwise. And it supports a single click, a double click. It can respond on holding the button. So every button has 6 options. I saw something pass by. What? A button. That looks one from, I know, don't think.
Previously Fibaro. I forgot how they are calling themselves now.
Yeah, that's the one.
But it has a similar function. So you can press this once, twice, I think up to 5 times. And then press and hold. And there's a trick with the press and hold as well, but I forgot.
Yeah, according to the booklet that came with the Switch, I didn't read it, I downloaded it. It supports 7 functions. I'm not sure which 7, so it's single push, double push, hold, release, long press. I think I'm up to 6. But anyway, the cool thing is I got it on my desk and I have a couple of scenes in my office. So when I do this recording, I put all the lights on at a certain level. I push the button. If I want to game with some friends, then I push the other button. If I want to turn everything off, I hold the button. Things like that. So it's one button on my desk, a physical button, and I like it because it's tactile. You can just push the button and something happens, even though the rest is automated.
Yeah. Doesn't matter.
Sorry?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's
Well, it
that's
doesn't matter.
that's the beautiful part, right? You've got this button, and it's something that you can press,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
tactile, and it's nice.
Yeah.
I do have an idea for a tech tip as well, and I'll we'll do that in the end of the session.
I am very
Stay
curious.
tuned.
Well, I'm going to back it up for later. First, we talk about the backup then.
Let's back up the backup.
Yeah, let's back up a bit. Wow, corny. Um,
Terrible. So
yeah.
we all
How to
have
refresh
this same
this?
problem, right? You gather a lot of data.
Yeah.
You gather pictures from your family, your friends, your loved ones, your I don't know, your pets, your cats and dogs and rabbits and whatnot. And you love them, obviously. You love the pictures. There are unique moments you want to say, you want to save and maybe look at again. Maybe you want to print them out and put them on your wall. In the old days, you'd have a book and you'd glue them in there, have a photo album. But nowadays, everything's digital. So how do you secure that stuff? Because, if you lose your phone, it's gone.
Yeah.
If you lose access to any, and you can say, okay, you know what, hold on. I've got a Google Cloud or iCloud or whatnot. True.
I
But
do.
if you lose access to that, it's still gone.
Yeah.
And, nowadays with all kinds of debates on access to cloud services, you never know. Right. But also, I am an avid photographer with my old fashioned DSLR, which can or cannot see in the background. Here it is. There.
Can see it.
Yeah, it's very, very much in the background. Uh, so the stuff that comes out of there doesn't go to any cloud, unless I uploaded it myself. But, that thing just pukes SD cards, and then it's up to you what you do with the content. If you leave it on the SD card, it will eventually fade because the SD card will break. Or I think it also has a what's it called, the compact flash card, which is better than an SD card, by the way. But anyway, so compact flash, if you upload it to your NAS or to your computer, well, generally, a lot of people don't have a NAS; you just have a laptop or desktop computer. You put it up there, and then what? Imagine someone comes to your house and steals your computer, or worse, someone comes to your house and sets it on fire,
Yeah. Or it accidentally happens.
or it
It's
accidentally
also a
happens.
possibility.
You get I don't know, short circuit and whatever. What do you do in such a case? Because if your house burns down, and even if you had a NAS and you secured your precious photographs on there, this is now a bunch of ashes. It's gone. So what do you do? Well, obviously, you can give it all to Google or Dropbox or Box or iCloud Drive, I think it's called, OneDrive. Then again, as we probably all know, well, maybe I don't know about all of them, but I'm pretty sure about Google Drive. They use those pictures for AI training. They don't
They
tell
say
you.
they don't, but
They don't tell you,
I
but they do.
yeah. Now the whole endeavor for me started when I'm not sure it was in the news. One guy or girl had photos in their, I believe it was Google Drive, because they created a picture of something that their child had. Their physician wanted to see it, so they created the picture and sent it to the doctor. At that time, Google disabled their account because of child porn,
Yeah, something like
because
that.
it was a
Yeah.
picture of a child, and probably it was something not allowed by Google. And that was the time I started thinking, I do have a lot of pictures in iCloud. And to my knowledge, at that time, nothing like that happened. But what if it would? What would happen to my pictures? Or even what would happen to my video files that are in there or on my local drive? That was a bit scary. And I didn't have anything readily available on how do I create a backup. I know you can have all kinds of services like Backblaze and but then you switch one cloud service for the other, and you still gotta pay them a monthly or yearly fee to be able to back up to that.
Yeah, if you
Even
get
if
bitten by
you're
the cat
going
or
to
bitten by
switch,
the dog, doesn't matter, right?
yeah, and even if you switch to something like Glacier on Amazon, you still have to pay for your storage.
Yeah.
That sucks. I know I paid, I think, a couple of years for my 2 drive or something like that, and they recently increased the price to about 500 euros for a year.
Yeah.
And I know it's not that bad as an insurance, but then again, I'm a nerd. Why would I pay somebody else 500 euros for something I could arrange myself?
Well, the question you could ask is if it would all be away, if all your pictures, you know, your house burned down, your NAS burned down, your computer burned down, you don't have zilch, you have nothing left. How much money would you pay to get it back?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a really good question.
That's what services like that take into account. If all else fails, if every other opportunity, every other road has been traveled and there is no way you can get your stuff back, how much would you pay for getting your stuff back? Would it be $100, $500, $1,000, $10,000?
Yeah. And then even if that happens, I mean, we filmed our whole marriage ceremony and the party, etc. The DVD is in our house for young people. That's a round spinning discs with all kinds of
Yeah.
digital media on it.
Bit silvery.
Yeah. Well, this one was gold, I think. Anyway, even the DVD is in our house, but also the storage on the USB is in house. And I know I got a backup of it in my own house. That's a bit silly. I mean, like you said, if it burns down, what would you pay for it to get it back? Even though I don't watch the video of the marriage a lot of times, I don't think I would like the idea very much that I would lose it. And
Exactly.
I think my wife as well. So, what are we going to do about it, mate?
But how about I back my stuff up to you and you back your stuff up to me?
That sounds like a plan.
That sounds like a plan. How about that?
Yeah, but I got some reservations. I mean, I got a small internet connection, but how do I make sure that I mean, I trust you. You were in my marriage.
True. There are
Yeah, there's proof. But I don't want you to have insight into all my data.
I don't even want to.
Exactly. So, what are we going to do?
Encryption.
Well, we already did it, obviously.
Obviously.
So,
But it's an interesting debate. I mean, a lot of people say, oh, you know what? I don't care. I have nothing to hide. And if that the fact that you have nothing to hide doesn't mean that everyone can see everything. That's a whole different
yeah,
conversation.
exactly. And you should also trust that the party that creates your backup is secure itself, that it won't leak your data voluntarily or involuntarily.
Every service that is for free means you are the product. Nothing is for free. There's no such thing as a free lunch. It does not exist. Big tech companies don't give away services for free. If they give you something for free, it means that you pay in some form or manner for it. Maybe with your data, maybe with something else. I don't know, but you pay. Believe me. So, what to do about it? First of all, we both run TrueNAS. Why do we run TrueNAS?
Because it's cheap,
I wouldn't
it's
mind
free.
paying for it though.
I agree.
No,
Now, the reason
I run
I
TrueNAS
chose,
because of ZFS.
I wasn't that nerdy.
No, I was.
I wanted something that could run on the hardware I had, and it was fairly easy to manage, and I didn't have to think about anything. I mean, I know it's used in large organizations and that ZFS is pretty good and that has a lot of functionality. I really wanted just a bunch of storage that was pretty okay in terms of performance, but I imagine my data center in the shed as enterprise, but come on.
At the warning sign. Here comes the nerd part. I used to be a SunOS and Solaris administrator, and back in the day, this was I think around the time that Solaris 9 or 10 was released. That SunOS, excuse me, came up with the idea of a software-defined storage system that would be able to do petabytes of storage. Back in the day, petabytes, that was not an amount that we would talk about. That was so insanely huge. Nobody would ever have to have a petabyte. Well, fast forward to today, but anyway, it would be capable of managing petabytes of storage. It would prevent the infamous bit rot, and it would be scalable and secure. This was the birth of ZFS. So back in the day, it was actually meant as a commercial storage system. But we all know. Well, maybe we don't all know, but a lot of people know what happened to SunOS. It was more or less bought by Oracle. A lot of the stuff that was previously a part of SunOS or not. Some of it was open sourced prior to the takeover or even after the takeover, I think. Some of it was killed off. I don't think Oracle ever really went on with the ZFS development. I think it's now a completely open source thing. But as SunOS and what was basically a BSD derivative, it was pretty easy to get it running. And after a lot of years of development and across a lot of iterations, finally we have TrueNAS nowadays. And it has the full stack of currently developed set of ZFS. And it has, it's not the solution for every storage problem. But if you want to store data for a longer time on an efficient manner with stuff like deduplication and compression included and things like synchronization or replication, which include encryption across one or multiple sites, TrueNAS really is the way to go, the tool for it. So, and one of the big advantages is, well, apart from that, IX Systems, which is more or less the keeper of TrueNAS, is also selling commercial systems with the TrueNAS as an actual storage solution for enterprises. It's also just downloadable as an ISO in open source and something that you can install on, well, basically anything that is more or less compatible with today's standards. So that is very interesting. You can actually build your own Synology, so to speak. Now, if you look at the current market in terms of cases and you can go overboard with it and build your own, 48 drives enclosure with I think 45 Drives is a company who sells very interesting cases. They're not cheap, but they are a very high quality standard. In all honesty, I don't own one because I have to import it, and we would be paying a lot of import fees. So it's not really feasible here in Europe. But if you are in the US, definitely give them a look because their stuff is really, really, really good.
Yeah.
But there are a lot
I
of...
would like one of those boxes.
Yeah, me too, but it's not feasible. I think I would pay about the same amount as they are worth in import fees. So that would definitely not be sensible. But fortunately, there are a lot of cases from our Chinese friends at AliExpress that are worth it. So yeah, you can pretty easily build your own NAS and just be done with it. And not be linked to any commercial service or company whatsoever. You buy your own hard drives, you buy your own SSDs, you buy your own motherboards, CPU combo, you put it in a case, you install TrueNAS on it, and Bob's your uncle.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things I like. I had a lot of NASs in the past. A ready NAS from Netgear, a Synology, and I believe another Synology, and something from various sponsors in the past. I do like that I can choose my own hardware when it's supported by TrueNAS or actually Linux at mostly. And I can choose what I put into it. So I put in a HyperCard from Asus, where I put 4 NVMe drives in. So I have a pretty fast array for when I do my video editing. I can put my video files on it, and then I can, well, actually access them from a 10 gig network, and it's pretty fast. I know I can create proxies that there are small files for the video, but it still needs to pull the data from the storage when I go to the rendering phase. So I just want to be quick. And next to that, I have an array of, well, I was going to say inexpensive disks, like the rate word says, but they're not so inexpensive, but really spinning disks. So I have an array of, I think, 24 terabytes netto of usable storage. And that's great. Just put in a lot of disks with some kind of RAID setup, and it's pretty good. I like.
Yeah, well, one of the advantages currently is that TrueNAS has moved from BSD to Linux, so they ported, or well, I don't think they ported it, but ZFS has been ported to Linux, or Linux, as you will, and TrueNAS has moved from BSD as a hosting platform to Linux as well, which meant that the hardware support was a lot easier because BSD is picky, doesn't work with everything. There are certain rules you have to abide by. And Intel network cards are okay. Broadcom, not so much. They just don't like the chips. I don't know why. And so on. So there are a couple of rules that you have to follow when you want to go through. I think it's called TrueNAS Scale now, or yeah. So it's still out there. You can still have it. It's still up to speed and modern. But I think the TrueNAS Core, or I don't know, I can't remember which is which. Anyway, the TrueNAS
Or
Linux version.
BSD, I think.
I think the Linux version is definitely the way forward. It's a lot easier on the hardware. So what I did when I built my NAS, which is now quite some time ago, but I just ordered a case from I think I bought it on Amazon for about 100 euros, and I found a mini ITX motherboard, including a CPU, which is an AMD EPIC, and that one came out of some system, and it was just refurbished, and it was on eBay for I think 69 euros. It has 64 gigs of DDR4 RAM, which I fortunately had. But ECC, so that is definitely something to look into. If you build a NAS, you want to make sure that every bit that is written to the NAS is actually 100% okay. ECC is something you just need to have in that case. And I plugged in a 10 gig card, which is something I'm actually quite fond of these days. The complete backbone of my home network is now, apart from I think 2 switches, is 10 gig speed. So this NAS is so much more performant than the one I had previously. And don't get me wrong, I mean, between you and me, I think we've tested most of the generic brand NAS brands like QNAP and Synology and Netgear. What's the other one? Can't remember.
Me neither. I know we did a review on it on VM Guru in the past.
Yeah, we did a lot of
I
reviews.
remember.
And in general, they are wonderful at the stuff they do. But I noticed that, specifically, not so much QNAP, but I find the Synologies undersized in terms of CPU. If you want to upgrade RAM, it's their own RAM brand is expensive. If you want to use off-the-shelf RAM, then I think it's officially not supported. So if something happens, then it's up to you. Nowadays, they are looking into actually locking down the hard drives ecosystem, so you can't just put any drive in there anymore. It has to be certified by them, la di da di da. And with TrueNAS, I don't care. I can put anything in there, and there are some ways to do it, and maybe it's not the topic right now to go into the actual detailed configuration of the TrueNAS box I built. There are some decisions to be made when you do that. There are a million tutorials on YouTube. If you look at, I don't know, I think Tom Lawrence has a lot of content on TrueNAS. But he's actually the one I watch the most when it comes to TrueNAS. So yeah, wonderful platform to use. And like I said, you can go overboard with your hardware configuration. I did that once. I built a TrueNAS box back in the day when it was still BSD with a dual CPU system with I think 128 gigs of RAM with
Wow.
20 drives in it. It in total, the 20 SAS drives in it. I think it did more IOPS than a NetApp. But that thing consumed, I think, 500 or 600 watts of power, and power isn't for free in Western Europe, specifically not in the Netherlands where we live. So that was something that I ran for about a year for fun, but then when the final electricity bill came, I was like, okay, this thing really has to go now because this is not funny anymore.
Yeah. So we got a good base for the storage.
Yes.
So I put everything on it, and I mean everything. I don't want to lose anything. Film. I know there are people that create, well, not so much backups, but they store their project data on the NAS, and when they're done with a project, they delete it or export it to a portable hard drive.
Yeah,
I mean,
and then what?
that's scary.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it. I mean, the NAS is, if one drive fails, that's okay. If two drives fail, it's okay. If three drives fail, then I'm in shit. But before that, I'm not going to put my data on a single drive.
Single disk, which is
I want to keep
portable
it.
and far easily to failure than that
Yeah,
system with I don't know rates whatsoever. So many drives, ECC RAM, blah de blah de blah.
yeah.
And then
And
you
then
put
where I'm
your
going to
precious
leave
stuff
it?
on a single drive. No,
And
that's
then
gonna
again,
happen.
where do I need to store it? Am I going to put it in a fireproof safe? Am I putting it into in the bank in one of those thingies? The
Yeah, Logbox. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. No, I don't want that.
So the first measure I actually took was enable snapshots.
Yeah, me
That's
me as well.
if you don't want to do all the other stuff that we're going to talk about, like local replication to another NAS or at least another storage solution in your house, to have it at least twice just in case something dies, and then also replicating it to an external station. Do the snapshots. Just
Yeah.
if you accidentally delete something, if you override something, you do an edit in the you press save and oh my god, I shouldn't have done that. Just for that, do
Yep.
snapshots.
Yeah, exactly. I snapshot everything, even my containers with the data.
Yeah.
And
I don't those I
I
don't.
know I'm going to restore. I'm not going to restore my containers from the snapshot, but then again, it hardly takes any space. So why not?
So my NAS system is where all my data comes together. I have a separate server where I run. Well, this the we've talked about it in the past. The Turing Pi system, where it basically runs three servers in the box. There are drives in there that do where I do store data, but that data is replicated one per server, replicated to the TrueNAS machine, to a specific directory where every container configuration, including the container data, so the persistent volumes, are being replicated. And that stuff is then again replicated to a second storage solution here in the house. I have a very small mirror set of two drives that it's not there for performance, it's just there for data security. And the only thing it does is it receives all the precious files from the TrueNAS server, because there's other stuff on there as well. It also hosts my the Plex media library, right? I mean, there are some TV series on there and a bit of Star Trek stuff I bought in the past, etc., etc. I don't want to back that stuff up. I've got that on DVD. It's in the and I don't need it to be on the NAS. Worst case scenario, I have to rebuy the DVD drive with the series. Okay, well, so that costs a tenner or something. I don't want to, that's terabytes and terabytes of video data that you can buy in an instant. So no, I'm not going to data secure that. That's rubbish. You don't want to do that. But those family movies and the pictures and all your personal files, I don't know, the letters from my dad. I have them on my NAS, and that stuff I so much want to keep. I don't want to lose any, and I don't want to lose a single bit of them, right? So
Yeah.
those directories, those folders, those are all synchronized to that little drive mirror set that is also in the back here. So I already have a copy of all the data internally on a second system.
That's something I still need to do. I got a second copy, but on the same system.
Yeah.
I run my containers on the TrueNAS server, and that's I copy it from the location where it's being used to a backup volume in TrueNAS. So it's on the same server,
But on different drives.
Is a second, not on a different drive, but it's a second copy of the data. So
Okay.
if the data goes corrupt,
You'd have a
I
backup.
still got the data.
Yeah. So I usually follow the backup 3-to-1 rule. You need, for those not familiar with it, the 3-to-1 rule states you have 3 copies of your data, at least 2 different media. So one in your NAS and one somewhere else or on something else. And one of them is offsite. That's the 3-to-1 rule. 3 copies, 2 different sorts of media, one is offsite. So the
So we
offsite
got
thing.
the 2 copies.
I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, so we do have the 2 copies. You do it on a different system.
Yeah.
I do it on the same system, but we do have the 2 copies. So the third one is we need to bring it offsite.
Indeed. So how do you bring it offsite? Oh, there are 2
Put
options.
it on the USB stick.
Yeah, there are more options, obviously. But if you want to have it semi-live, right? I mean, obviously, like you just said, I can export all my precious files to a mobile hard drive and toss it somewhere in a safe or a security deposit box or in a, I don't know, whatever, right? Put it in my mom's desk or I don't know. But then again, you have to do that or repeat that process every time you come back from holiday and bring back a lot of pictures. Or it's a bit of, yeah. On one hand, it would be very secure. On the other hand, it would maybe be a bit too secure.
Yeah.
Because every time you want to modify it, it's going to be a pain. So what did we do?
We replicated the data to each other's location.
There you go.
I put a volume on my NAS where Alex can dump his copies.
I didn't have as much data.
Okay, fair point. And I repurposed an old Synology NAS for remote storage and put it at Alex's place.
Because you had a lot of
Because
data.
I didn't want to choose what to back up.
Yeah, I'm a bit more picky. So I only back up the stuff I really value, and like I said, I do not back up a lot of other stuff.
Yeah, for me it was
that.
hard.
Meaning that maybe I forget to back up something that I really should have. Yeah, that's the risk I take.
Yeah, for me it is. I don't want to think about those things. I know I have to set it up once and then forget about it. Set it and forget it. It's the story of my life. If I have to do it every day or consciously, it will fail. No question about it. The same goes for the data from the videos I shoot. do I want to choose which one I back up, or do I choose I back up them for a month and then delete it? That puts too much pressure on me to process that. So I don't want it. It needs to go, and it needs to go smoothly. Don't have to change anything in my workflow. It's just there's my data. There it goes to the other side.
Yeah. So basically, we have the snapshots, we have the local replication, and this is the third step in the process. You replicate everything that you value to an offsite storage solution. So in my case, you have actually created a folder and shared that with me. TrueNAS now copies all my data, encrypts it, compresses it, puts it on your system, and basically you do the same thing, but you have your own NAS on my end and actually can completely fill that up any way you
Yeah.
please.
And I probably will.
That again,
But
what is there for.
yeah. And I think it's like I said, it's just something. It just works. You don't have to think about it. I do have three backup jobs or synchronization jobs. I want somewhat of the sense of control, so I back up my media files. Those are the largest files, and the job takes the longest. And then my backups for my servers where really live data exists, and then the other stuff. So then I can schedule it just like an enterprise on the time that I need my bandwidth for other things like Counter-Strike, for example.
The advantage of this stuff is, first of all, the replication mechanism is built into TrueNAS. So you don't need anything for it. It's already there. Right. And you can pick and choose if you want, if the other side is also TrueNAS, you can use an integrated system that TrueNAS has. I think we are using just the simple SFTP replication, but it's so easy, right? It's a set it and forget it, basically, and it now means that all my precious files are backed up. I think every 6 hours, if I recall correctly. And the best part is my standard workflow at home when I bring back the camera and I pull out the CF card and plug it into my Mac is just to dump it in my photos folder. Well, my photos folder is on my NAS, and that stuff automatically gets backed up. So I don't even have to think about it. It just happens.
Yeah, same for me.
That's
It's
amazing.
just that I create a new project, I dump my video files or photos in it, and then it automatically gets backed up. And I'm going all emotional here.
Oh my God.
It's a good feeling that you know that your data is somewhere else and you have control over that data.
Exactly.
But you're going on record right now. I know I already did it, but did you try a restore? I mean, we are talking about backup, but did you try to restore
I
something yet?
actually gave it a go and it works.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is something, and believe me, there are very large enterprises out there who paid a lot of money, and I'm talking really millions, to have their data backed up and never tested it. And when push comes to shove and they have an incident that they really need to restore something, it doesn't work. That is so sad. That is so sad. So really, people, if backups are wonderful, but working restores are even better. So just make sure
Yeah.
that you give it a go. If you back up something after a while, just try and see if you can recover something from that backup. Make sure it works, because nothing is more sad than thinking you have a backup of your data and then actually coming to the conclusion that you don't. And
Yeah.
when do you usually come to that conclusion? When you need it.
Yeah. So
So prepare
in the
yourself.
same line of frequently asked questions or things you should do, please check your log files. I mean, you wouldn't be the first that want a certain file back and you come to the realization Well, I back up everything every 6 hours, but the file is on none of my backups. What the beep is going on? And if you would look through your log files, you probably saw, well, the file isn't allowed to be back up because permissions or something else,
There you
or your
go.
storage is
Yeah.
already failing.
Maybe not every day, but just give it a regular check. Is everything really going the way I want it?
Yeah. I got spammed by my TrueNAS. My backup location isn't there. My backup location isn't there. My backup location isn't there. And I know the data is safe on primary system. I know I backed up into the secondary, but still,
Yeah, it's annoying.
yeah. And you think, is it okay? Is my sweet baby okay?
It was
Luckily, it was.
just a bad connection.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So,
so if anything you take away from this is please back up your data and back up your data to a different location than your house.
yeah, exactly. And don't trust the big guys.
No, definitely not.
What was it in Dutch? Trust is good, control is better, or
Exactly.
checking is better. Well, sir.
There you go. On that
So,
bombshell, do you have a
yeah,
tech tip?
I do have one. I'm looking at my laptop to see
My
what
God.
it was. Yep, my memory isn't that good. You also have a Mac.
Yes.
I know you do. What do you think of the new launcher in macOS Tahoe? Previous, we had a full screen launcher where every icon you can organize and find. Now we do have a, what's it called? The spotlight like
Yeah.
system.
Okay, I have a confession to make.
You haven't upgraded to Tahoe yet.
Yeah, no, I have. I am at the 2026.1 version, so it is on the latest. But I am a terrible, terrible Mac user. I still configure my Mac the way I did it in Mac OS X. So I never used the previous version of Launcher, and I'm not using the current version at all. I have a shortcut in my bar to the applications folder, and when I click on it, it just like a Windows menu, it just folds open with all my icons in it. And this has been working for me ever since I got a Mac 20 years ago. Stick with it. This is the way I work. I don't care about the rest.
Okay. Well, then you're not the target audience.
No, I'm not. I really disliked what was it called? Expose?
Yeah.
No, I really didn't like that. I tried it a couple of times. I honestly gave it a go, but no.
The current iteration is a kind of integration with Spotlight. You find your apps.
Yeah.
But you can also search in your apps. And
I think I saw the demo by Craig Federici.
Yeah, you can even do something in the application from that same place.
Yeah.
The problem I have with that is I organized my icons in the launcher in groups like you do on an iPhone, or you can do on an iPhone. You probably never mind.
Go there. My iPhone's a mess.
I created some kind of organization. My photo apps at my photo apps, my video apps at my video apps, etc. But that doesn't work in the new one. Apple thought, well, I think what's good for you, like they always do, and they just use their categorization. And I don't like that. So I found a tool
Let me
by
tell
watching
you,
YouTube.
the new Windows start menu is even worse. So
I don't want to know.
you can complain about Apple, but Microsoft is even worse. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, but I found a tool watching a YouTube video. I can't remember which. If I find it out, I'm going to put it in the notes. It's a tool called Launch OS that brings back the experience you had with the older launcher
Right.
into a new icon, and you can do a lot of stuff. The similar ones.
Right.
The previous launcher had pages. You can now have a single page where you can scroll down. You can organize it. I put it under what's it called? The corner on the top, the hot corner.
Yeah, one of the hot
If
corners.
I go with my mouse there, it pops up. And I really like it. I like it that much. You can use it for free, if I'm not mistaken. I just ordered a 5-pack for Max.
Nice.
It's like 15 euros, so it's not
Okay,
that
it's not a
much.
whole lot. Then again, I mean, it helps a developer.
Yeah, and it was more expensive to buy 3 licenses than it was to buy 5 licenses because all the Cyber Monday and Black Friday
Yeah, exactly.
things. But it's a great tool. LaunchOS.
LaunchOS, folks.
Yeah.
If you're on a Mac, go check it out.
Yeah. But I backed up the tip you had, so now we're going to restore it.
All right, there we go.
If it's going well.
This restore will work.
Okay. Go ahead.
I don't think I ever talked about it. I have a little gadget that I use throughout the house. I currently own 3 and I'm about to buy a 4th one. And this little gadget is called Button Plus. And it came to me when you showed your Akara buttons. This is actually a very fancy button thing. It consists of a couple of modules. You can buy a screen module with 2 buttons, and then you can add additional button bars to it, up to 3 button bars and the screen, so you can have 8 buttons. It recently had a firmware update, and we're now on version 3.0, which is a very, very big improvement, because previously it had some issues with roaming between multiple access points, so it would go offline now very regularly. But now it doesn't do that anymore. And also, you now have the opportunity to use icons, so actual SVG icons in the buttons. And as I said, it's called Button Plus. And if you're looking at the video stream, this is what it looks like. And I built a little stand for it in my 3D printer, but you can just hang it to the wall, or like I said, you put it on your desk like this. It has colorful LED lights behind the buttons, so you can switch the light when you switch the button. So when I, for instance, I don't know, switch off the light here, you can see here the ones it says wandplank. When I push it, it goes to off and the light goes to green. There you go. And actually the light goes off now. But so and the best part of this is this works 100% with Home Assistant. This works 100% with Homey. You can program what's on the display. So right now over here, it displays what my Homey is currently playing throughout the house on Sonos. So this is actually the current audio track that you hear all over the house. It has the temperature over here. You can display the time. You can display the values of any sensor that you want. And you can assign these buttons to anything you like. Have them switch color, switch value. You name it, it can do it.
Nice. I'm just looking at the website.
I think they're only $100.
Cool.
For the whole thing.
No, don't go there, AJ. Don't go there. So the pre-order expected January 26th.
Yeah, that's the new. They just created a new hardware release. I think that's version 2, and there were some backlog issues with the hardware, if I recall correctly. I can't remember. So the guy who's actually making this, he's called Ronald. He's actually in your neighborhood. He got the idea from Tweakers, and he just thought, why is nobody building something like this? And he just started doing it, and now it's an actual product.
I really like it.
It's amazing.
I actually
it's
like it.
Really, really good. We have one in the bedroom. We have one in the living room. I've got one on my desk here. We'll put one on the desk for my wife. You know, you can switch everything with it. I had I will restore that. I have a function in the living room. In the bedroom where the TV. We have a soundbar under the TV, which is a Sonos soundbar, where you can switch the Sonos soundbar input through this little gadget. So you can just say, oh, no, when it switches to radio in the morning, and I want to listen to the radio, I want to continue watching the TV. You just push the button, it switches back to HDMI, and up. There you go. It really, really is amazing, and I really love it.
I'm just looking at the website.
And it's so simple.
It looks amazing.
It's so simple.
Yeah. It's an ESP32
Yeah.
in the back. Oh, man.
And the display is amazing. The colors are great. It really is. It has a tactile click. You know, maybe if you can hear it.
Yeah.
It's so great. I love it.
Well, I already bought my Akara, but cool gadget.
Yeah. So definitely, if you are into home automation and you want an intelligent switch that just works off of your Wi-Fi, the only thing it needs is a bit of power via USB-C, or I think there's also an internal power supply, little internal power supply included. You can put it on your wall, you can put it on a stand, you can put it anywhere. It's an amazing piece of technology, very user-friendly. Very easy to configure with Home Assistant, with Homey. Yeah, go check it out. Button.plus on the big internet.
Well, you want anything else to mention about backup or buttons? Me neither.
Dan,
I think we're going to end it then.
How about that?
I'm AJ.
I'm Alex.
This was NTVN New Tech Vintage Nerds.
See you next
time.